I'll give you the sun, the rain, the moon, the stars and the mountains. I'll give.
We were really excited for the opportunity to record again because during this pandemic and during COVID, everything went haywire. Everything really came to a screeching halt.
After7 was a platinum-selling R&B group. They had hit records, sold out shows, and were closely tied to Babyface, who was family. But one day, it all just stopped. No press release, no goodbye tour. Keith Mitchell, the third member, said even he did not get an explanation. So what really happened, and why did Babyface go silent on the group that helped carry his sound? After7 was built for success. Two of its members, Melvin and Kevin Edmonds, were Babyface's own brothers. The third, Keith Mitchell, was close family too. When L.A. Reid and Babyface formed Layface Records in the late 80s, After7 was their flagship, and their debut album did not miss. It went platinum. Say Cannot Stop, Ready or Not, and Heat of the Moment topped R&B charts. But the truth, it was not really their sound. They did not get to write, did not get to pick producers. They barely had input on arrangements. Babyface had the vision and they were just delivering it. When they tried to push back, they were reminded who signed the checks. One song, intended for their second album, was allegedly pulled and handed to another LaFace artist. Another time, a member claimed Babyface re-recorded hooks himself, replacing their vocals without warning. To fans, they looked like stars, but inside the studio, they were backup singers on their own records. The group started to feel like a business extension, not a band. Publicly, they were being praised as part of Layface's golden era. Privately, they were watching other acts like Toni Braxton, Usher, and TLC get more freedom and more push, while After7 remained creatively boxed in. By the time their second album dropped, the writing was on the wall. We had the name, we had the chart success, but we did not have the power, Kevin Edmonds would later admit in an interview. The hits did not stop, but the spirit did. When family becomes the label. From the outside, it looked like a dream. Babyface, the hitmaker, bringing his brothers into the spotlight under his own empire. But behind the glossy album covers and award show smiles, a storm was brewing. Because Babyface was not just family. He was the label head, the producer, and the creative dictator. Every decision ran through him, and slowly his brothers started to feel like employees instead of artists. At first, they trusted him. Why would they not? He had the golden touch. But over time, they began noticing something off. Promised songs would vanish and reappear on other artists' albums. Creative ideas got shut down. And money, let's just say, LaFace prioritized every artist but them. Kevin Edmonds later admitted, "We did not have control. We were not treated like partners. They were not consulted, just managed. They were not collaborators, just performers." Even when they wanted to evolve their sound, experiment a little, stretch creatively, they were told no. Babyface's image of After7 was tight suits, clean vocals, smooth harmonies, nothing more, nothing risky. The message was clear: stay in your lane. And when your own brother is calling those shots, it does not just hurt, it confuses. Is this love or business? By the time they were recording Taking My Time, the divide was obvious. Studio sessions grew cold, communication broke down, Kevin and Melvin felt muted, mic'd up in the booth, but silence behind the scenes. They had fame, they had platinum, but they did not have freedom, and worse, they did not even feel like a group anymore, the breakaway nobody expected. After years of smiling through the silence, After7 had enough. They were tired of being controlled. By a brother, by a label, by an image that no longer fit the men they had become. And in 1995, just as their popularity reached a peak, Kevin and Melvin Edmonds made a decision that stunned fans and insiders alike. They walked, no press conference, no drama, just quiet resistance. Behind the scenes, they started crafting a new plan. No more waiting for Babyface to deliver songs, no more being locked into a sound that did not evolve. They wanted ownership of their music, their image, and their legacy. And it was not just emotional, it was strategic. Kevin Edmonds, the frontman with the velvet voice, was first out the gate. He signed a solo deal with RCA, and by 1999, dropped a hauntingly beautiful 24/7, a track that proved he could stand on his own. It went gold, it charted, and it told the world After7 was not the peak. Meanwhile, Melvin retreated from the spotlight altogether, choosing peace over pressure, but his silence spoke volumes. And Babyface, he did not say much either, but industry insiders whispered that the split left a scar. not just professionally, but personally. Because it was not just a group dissolving, it was a family fracturing. After7 was no more, at least that's what everyone thought. But in the background, something unexpected was brewing. A new generation, a second wind, because while the original lineup had fractured, the name After7 still held weight. And before long, someone new would step in, carrying the torch, rewriting the script, and bringing a different kind of fire. Just when the world thought After7 was finished, the Edmonds bloodline had other plans. In 2015, like a spark reigniting an old flame, Jason Edmonds, son of Melvin Edmonds, stepped into the spotlight, the voice uncannily familiar, the presence bold, the legacy unshaken. He was not just filling a spot, he was reviving a dynasty. The new After7, now a trio of Kevin, Keith Mitchell, and Jason, returned with I Want You, a smooth, radio-ready record that instantly reconnected them to fans who had not heard that harmony in years. But this was not a cheap nostalgia act. The production was crisp, the vocals were elite, and the writing still carried that Edmonds stamp. Babyface had his hands in it again.
Their music has crossed generations for more than 30 years, and their hits, they just continue to top the charts. You know, this is an exciting time. You know, you're talking over 30 years in this industry, yes, and your hits are still climbing the charts.
The comeback album Timeless was more than a nod to their past. It was a statement. After7 was not just a 90s memory, it was still relevant, still rich, and still rooted in love and soul. Billboard noticed. So did urban AC stations, so did the streets. But it was not just a feel-good reunion. Behind the scenes, the pain had not fully healed. Melvin, battling health issues, would join the group for occasional appearances, but the toll of years in the industry had worn him down. He passed away in 2019, leaving a silence that shook both family and fans. Still, the group pressed on. Jason stayed, the music kept flowing, and in doing so, After7 proved something deeper. Legends do not fade, they evolve. This new era did not just honor Melvin's legacy, it extended it. And it forced the industry to face a question they had not asked in years. Did we underestimate After7? By now, After7 had done what few 90s groups could, survived, reinvented, even charted again, but something felt off. Despite millions of records sold, timeless singles, and family ties to one of R&B's most powerful producers, After7 never got the same flowers as some of their peers. No BET Lifetime Awards, no major documentaries, no trending retrospectives. Groups like Jodeci, Boyz II Men, and New Edition were celebrated. After7, often overlooked. And that was not just fan speculation, it was felt within the group. Melvin Edmonds, the velvet voice behind classics like Ready or Not, had quietly walked away in the 90s after their second album. Officially, personal reasons, but insiders knew it was more than that. Creative differences, industry pressure, and a haunting feeling that their contributions were not truly valued, not even by their own label. Behind the scenes, people whispered. Some said the group was seen as Babyface's side project. Others claimed industry gatekeepers simply did not know where to place them. Too grown for young radio, too new for old heads. And then there were the subtle snubs, key performances they were not invited to, classic albums missing from top R&B albums lists, and perhaps most painful, being left out of conversations about the very era they helped define. But this was not about bitterness, it was about truth, because even if the mainstream forgot, the music never did. Ask any wedding DJ, ask the couples who slow dance to Cannot Stop, ask the fans who still cry when Ready or Not plays, and the love was always there, it just was not always loud. But the silence, it said a lot. In 2016, after years of silence, something shifted. A familiar harmony returned, older, wiser, but just as pure. After7 dropped Timeless, an album that lived up to its name, smooth, soulful, sharp. It did not scream for attention, it commanded it. The world did not see it coming, but those who knew, they knew this was not just a comeback, this was a resurrection. And the voices, stronger than ever, Kevin Edmonds still soared, Keith Mitchell never missed. And in a twist that stunned longtime fans, a new face joined the fold, Jason Edmonds, Melvin's son. Melvin had stepped back again due to health issues, but the legacy did not fade. It evolved. Jason, a producer and vocal talent in his own right, did not just fill a spot. He honored his father, line by line, note by note. The message was clear: After 7 never left. The world just stopped listening. Let Me Know climbed the adult R&B charts like it belonged there, because it did. Critics had to take a second look. Fans rushed back, and for a moment, R&B felt centered again, but behind the scenes, the clock was ticking. Melvin's health was worsening. Every photo he appeared in felt heavier. Every live performance became more sacred. The man who gave so much to the sound of love was quietly slipping away. On May 18, 2019, Melvin Edmonds passed away, and with that, something shattered. The group kept going for him, because of him, but nothing could replace that voice, that soul, that presence. Yet somehow in the echo of loss, After7 sounded more alive than ever, because legends do not disappear. They fade into the notes, keep beat, and keep playing. When the final curtain falls, most artists vanish into silence. But After7, they became the silence between notes, eternal, haunting, unforgettable. This was not just a group, it was a bloodline of brilliance, a brotherhood forged in gospel roots and grown in R&B gold. Melvin Edmonds did not just sing love songs, he made love audible. His voice had weight, history, a certain pain polished smooth by time, and when he sang, hearts slowed down just to listen. Even now, years after his passing, the influence lingers, not just in songs, in the air, in the rhythm of every new After7 release, in the way his son, Jason, carries the torch without dimming its flame. They did not need charts to validate them. They had the streets, the soul, the kind of longevity auto-tune cannot fake. And though fame often forgets, true fans remember. They remember how After7 broke through when the game was saturated, how they returned, not desperate for the spotlight, but confident they still belonged in it, how they stood tall, without scandal, without gimmicks, just harmony, truth, and legacy.
We were really excited for the opportunity to record again because during this pandemic and during COVID, everything went haywire. Everything really came to a screeching halt. But
Melvin's gone, but listen closely, he's still here, in the falsetto, in the slow jams, in every melody that dares to be real in a world of synthetic noise, because After7 did not die with Melvin. They just turned his story into a song, and as long as that song plays, he lives. That will be all for now. Goodbye.